Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Winning the Division, episode number 63. I am your co-host, Ryan Smith, alongside former NFL tight end, Ben Troupe. Week 2 is in the books, except for the doubleheader of Monday Night Football currently going on right now. The Houston Texans are leading the Tampa Bay Buccaneers by a score of 14-10. Scratch that. The other way around. Tampa Bay leading Houston by a score of 14-10 towards the end of the third quarter. The Las Vegas Raiders and Los Angeles Chargers coming up at 10 p.m. Eastern time in about an hour's time from when we are recording this to close out Monday Night Football for the week number 2. Before we get into the recap of the week 2 games, Ben, let's do it. Our players of the game and our not-so-players or teams of the week. This is our first things first segment. I'll start us off. I'm going to go with not so player or team of the week first. Player of the week is the entire Cleveland Browns organization.
Yeah.
Definitely a little closer than it looks like it was not a good game, 41-17. So they kept it close for a little bit, but then Joe Flacco and company just could not hang with Lamar Jackson and company. Flacco threw an interception, 25 of 45. Jerry Jeudy just 4 catches for 51 yards. Myles Garrett had, I think, 1 sack on the day. But Lamar Jackson, he just torched the Cleveland Browns, who are kind of in a weird position right now. They're 0-2, but it feels like their season is pretty much over. I don't know how many games they're going to win. I predict them to win, I think, 3, if I remember right, in our preseason predictions. And they just don't have a lot going for them right now. And I thought the Dolphins played a little better this week, which is why not so team of the week. But the Browns are my not so team of the week based on that performance. There we go. All right, I'm back. My player of the week is Daniel Jones. I mean, come on. 2 weeks in a row, Daniel Jones making the work of naming him the starter a good thing over Anthony Richardson. Daniel Jones, 316 yards passing, 23-34, 1 touchdown. And the Colts go to 2-0 on the season with the do-over kick by Spencer Schrader. I know Sean Payton is livid with that special teams mishap been to send. That's a long flight home. You've probably been on those flights on the end of those losing games like that, and that was probably a very long flight home for the Indianapolis or for the Denver Broncos. So Daniel Jones, my player of the week, and the Cleveland Browns, my not so player / team of the week.
Oh man, I mean, so many players to go with when you start talking about players of the week. But I mean, Jared Goff is my player of the week. I could have did the whole Detroit Lions, right?
Yeah.
But Jared Goff is the orchestrator of this entire offense. But Jared Goff / Amon St. Brown. Jared Goff is the orchestrator of the entire offense. Amon St. Brown had 3 touchdowns, and he made it look easy. I mean, he was out there just doing what he wanted to do when he wanted to do it. And I like how he did the fake hamstring injury, like his hamstring was hurt. I mean, he had 3 touchdowns to go out there again. So I'm going Jared Goff / Amon St. Brown. My not player of the week. Because it's just
say it.
No. I'm gonna go not player. I'm gonna go aside of the ball though. Indy had lost the game. The game was over. Why are y'all doing leverage? Field goal block. Broncos, listen to me. Listen. Great game, by the way. Back and forth.
Excellent game.
But leverage, you got to know. 15 yards. So I'm not going to put it on one play. I'm just going to say field goal block, Denver Broncos. But my not player of the week, though. I'm doing my not player of the week. Caleb Williams. Let me tell y'all something.
Oh, I thought you were going Caleb Johnson from the Steelers.
No. I'm gonna just go Caleb Williams. Here's the thing. I don't know what's going on with him and Ben Johnson. I really don't. And this started in the offseason where Ben Johnson was talking about efficiency. And it goes back, Smitty, when I said Caleb Williams talking about I want to be the first ever 4,000 yard. Not winning. I want to be the first 4,000 because it's something that Tom Brady said when he was, listen, if you want to know why Tom Brady is who he is, just type in Tom Brady talking to Colin Cowherd, talking about these players. He said we rank everything but what matters. We will rank the teams 1 through 32. Why do we rank the head coaches 1 through 32? Why do we rank the coordinators, offensive, defense 1 through 32? Why do we rank the quarterback coaches 1 through 32? Because what if I'm on the 20 ranked team, but my coordinators rank 32? My quarterback's coaches rank 29. This is where they rank. I don't know how you would do that, but we rank everything else, right, Smitty? So why do we do that? Because some of these marriages just ain't happening. But an honorable mention player of the week, honorable mention, I will go to Bryce Young for this reason right here.
Well, okay.
I will do this. When we talk about supporting cast, right? Every time it's a good team, that supporting cast does their part. Bryce is the star. We need a bunch of co-stars to do their part. Xavier Legette, he's not helping them. And I will say this. I'm going to get into Bryce when we get into the show, but I like the fact that Bryce is the reason why you're in games. He's going to do some things that frustrate you, but he's the reason why you're still in these games. Because, Smitty, if my best receiver is a rookie, and there's nothing wrong with that, that's also a problem, because that means that other guys aren't helping him out, in current situations. But the honorable mention is Bryce Young, because like most people, man, you thought that game was over. Then they get an onside kick. You got action. It didn't end up the way they wanted to because he can only do so much. But I got to give Bryce Young a lot of love, as well as Dak Prescott, even though Russell Wilson went for 450. He had a 450. He always threw the ball 50-something times. I mean, 50-something times mean you have no run game in sight. The running back just stayed on the bus. They stayed in the locker room. But got to give a big shout out to Bryce and Dak and those guys.
That was First Things First, our players of the week and not so players in teams of the week. Well, let's get into our week 2 recap next segment here on winning the division. We'll start with Thursday Night Football. Packers take down the Washington Commanders by a score of 27-18, and that resulted in an injury from Jaden Daniels, and he may not play this upcoming week, has a knee sprain.
I will say this about this. It's a very, very exciting game. Jordan Love, 19-31, 292 yards, 2 touchdowns. Obviously, Josh Jacobs, 23 rushes, 84 yards, 1 touchdown. But here's the thing. But the story of the game was Jaden Daniels was 24-42. 42 passes for 200 yards. That's a lot of throws for 200 yards. That's very pedestrian. But going into this game, coming out of this game was the same thing. The lack of continuity and of Scary Terry and Jaden, it hasn't happened in the first 2 games. I realized Scary Terry missed the entire preseason because he wanted this new deal. Smitty, no one's talking about the fact that Jaden Daniels is asked to kind of be Josh Allen every Sunday for that offense. They need him to 1, be super, and 2, play great. He can't last 17 weeks like that. As we can see, he's already dealing with a knee injury, which it's not a significant one, but it's enough to make him miss some games. So, Jordan, you looking brilliant again about your Jordan Love pick. I mean, they finding a way to do it on defense when you add a guy like Michael, to go along, with other guys on that defense, like Gary and those guys on the D-line. But this is about Jaden Daniels, Scary Terry, their lack of, like I said, gelling together. And Smitty, you got to ask, would Jaden Daniels take a step back a year or 2, not because he's not the same player, but because his body's not going to hold up? And if your number 1 receiver is looking like another receiver, how many games could you? Oh, Austin Eckler, I think is out for the year. That's
the other big injury.
That's gonna hurt them as well. Because while he wasn't there to be the starter, he was there to add some depth to the running back position. That's gonna hurt. That's gonna hurt the Commanders as well.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to the Sunday games from this week. The start in Nashville, the Rams take down your former team, the Tennessee Titans, by a score of 33-19.
I'm going to keep saying this until something happens. I like what Cam Ward brings to the table athletic-wise, right? But here's the problem. Cam Ward, 19-33, 175 yards, 1 touchdown. Pollard had 20 rushes, 92 yards. Calvin Ridley, 3 catches, 57 yards. I want to say the rookie. I want to say his name right out of Ayo Manor. I think I'm saying it right out of Stanford.
I think it's Eric. Ayo Manor. Yeah.
I think this is why the Titans are going to struggle this year. When my rookie quarterback, number 1 overall pick, can't just sit in the pocket and go through his reads, he's using athleticism because on the touchdown pass, he came out of a sack, rolled to the right, and threw all the way back across the field for the touchdown to Ayo Manor. And while that's great, just like I just said about Scary Terry and Jaden Daniels, there is no help and trust coming from Calvin Ridley. Your number 1 receiver makes the entire wide receiver room better because he's getting open consistently. Just as the Jaguars and Chase and Jamar Chase. Anyway, and here's the thing about Matthew Stafford and company. While Devontae Adams is a potential future Hall of Famer, Puka Nacua is nasty. He scored on like a 40-yard touchdown run, which means they're finding a way to get him. Remember, I told you too, Smitty, a guy like Xavier Legette, which we'll get to, you got to find a way to get guys in the game, get them touches. It ain't going to I keep saying this, it ain't going to always be catches. Man, keep me in tune in the game by finding a way to get me in space. The goal of any receiver or athlete, get them in space, let them make somebody miss, and it could be paid there. So I would say the thing about this Rams team is, I mean, lo and behold, I mean, I kept saying the health of Matthew Stafford, 23 or 33, 298 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. And Devontae Adams, 6 for 106 in a touchdown, Puka Nacua, 8 for 91. They haven't missed a beat. No Cooper Kupp, no problem, because you add Devontae Adams, who has that over-the-top element. Still not a burner anymore, but still can get over the top. But very impressed with the Rams. Not so much. Coach Canales and Coach Callahan, while one is in the NFC South and the other in the AFC South, they both look similar when it comes to what do I do with my quarterbacks? You have to find a way to put them in a position to make easy throws, stay ahead of the chains, and let them improvise now and then. Not, I got to come out of sacks and show off my big arm. That's great if you're and it was a home opener for my Titans. So the Rams came all the way cross country to spoil it. But like I said, athleticism only gets you so much in the National Football League. Being able to play within the scheme and the team around you is gonna give you longevity. And right now, I don't know if Cam Ward's health is gonna be an issue, but if it is because all the risks you have to take, it's gonna be a long year for the Titans either way. But that doesn't give you a lot of confidence moving forward because Calvin Ridley still hasn't proven to be a number 1. Cam Ward looks good. The defense of the Titans, just pick your poison. Jeffrey Simmons is over there on the defensive line, but they can't really stop anybody. But shout out to the Rams. And like you said, with the Titans, you don't really know anything after week 2 outside of do we have the right head coach? Does this scheme work for this offense? And what type of identity does this team have right now? They have no identity.
Let's move on to Cincinnati, where the Cincinnati Bengals under Jake Browning, the backup to Joe Burrow, takes down the Jaguars by a score of 31-27 in Cincinnati. The highlights of this game, obviously, Joe Burrow going down with a turf toe injury was announced earlier today that he will be out for 3 months as that toe will require surgery. Talking a little bit in First Things First about Joe Burrow. Being injury prone, at this point of his career. The other big takeaway on the other side is for Jacksonville, it seems like Brian Thomas Jr., who is on my fantasy team, but that's not an important note. It almost seems like he's scared of contact over the middle and just not he didn't look like he wanted to be there, if I'm being quite honest. So thoughts on Brian Thomas Jr. and then obviously Joe Burrow's injury, which is essentially out for the season. They say out for 3 months, but let's be honest, it's pretty much the season.
Yeah, they're doing that for Cincinnati Bengals fans, trying to make sure they still have hope left. 3 months, even when he's ready to come back, they were still going to kind of give him a couple of more weeks because he's Joe Burrow. I don't know if it's Joe Burrow in the offensive line or just Joe Burrow's injury prone. It wasn't like a bad hit that he took, on the turf toe. And maybe turf toe doesn't just happen during the game. That's something probably he was dealing with, Smitty, and maybe it just, reared his ugly head on Sunday because you can't really, he doesn't get hit during the week. They're going to kind of try to take care of him. I was very, very impressed before I get to, Brian Thomas. I was very, very impressed with Browning. Now, he had, 21 to 32, 241 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 picks. He had 3 picks, which he's going to have to work on that because I don't think the Jacksonville Jaguar team was good enough to hurt him. But Brian Thomas Jr. is a curious case of him right now. you don't know who he is. He's not looking like his rookie year at all. And yes, the National Football League has had a full year to see the game plan him, but he hasn't looked like himself. But let me tell you what this is really about that no one's really talking about when I come to Jacksonville. Where's Travis Hunter? We kept saying about, and it's only 2 games. Travis Hunter needs to just play defense. Here's why. Travis Hunter had 3 catches, 22 yards, and he got that in I want to say the first half. 3 catches, 22 yards. Because here's the thing, right? We keep on saying this. Travis Hunter is an athlete. He's not going to be that in the National Football League. Was that a bogus pass interference on him when he was? Yes, that was not a PI on Travis Hunter. But here's the thing, Smitty. Liam Cohen needed to make a splash with everything that kind of went down. The former offensive coordinator for the Bucs, now the head coach of the Jags. The Cleveland Browns trade out the second pick. They get Travis Hunter. He was going to reshape how we look at, the National Football League because he's going to play on both sides. Here's the thing, Smitty. If he's not impactful on either side, he's going to have to pick one. Because let's just take away the fact that you don't know football. You're just watching. He doesn't stand out on offense at all. They're not doubling him. They're not playing safeties over the top. The person who they can't stop right now is De'Ami Brown. I mean, he's looking really, really good. And I think the thing about the Jaguars team is, once again, Trevor Lawrence is not playing bad. 24 42. Here's the thing. 42 throws is a lot of throws. That's a lot. Hold on. I'm sorry. Browning had 2 touchdowns, 3 picks. Trevor Lawrence had 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. I think a player that's getting a lot of I think a player that the fans have been clamoring for is Parker Washington for Jacksonville, number 11. He seems to have taken over the Brian Thomas Jr. type role because he seems to be the guy that can get open consistently. But the Jags, in my opinion, shouldn't have lost this game. Cincinnati, Joe Burrow goes out. For everybody that thought Jamar Chase, man, I don't know if he's going to have a seat. Jamar Chase, 14 catches, 165 yards. And most of those were with Browning, by the way. It was a good game, though, but I give a lot of credit to the Cincinnati Bengals finding a way to go into Jacksonville, get a big win. I don't know what's going to happen with Travis Hunter, but right now, Smitty, it's much ado about nothing because outside of those couple of catches, he's getting tackled by D linemen because he's trying to make out – dude, you got to catch it and get vertical. But Cincinnati, I don't know if their season is done, but it's going to be an uphill battle because 15 games with Browning, which something they hadn't planned on. The most important position in football has to be the backup quarterback because if your starter gets hurt, and if you don't believe me, Mark Bolger for the then greatest show on turf of St. Louis is how Kurt Warner became Kurt Warner. Mark Bolger gets hurt in the preseason because Marshall Faulk missed a block. Kurt Warner comes in, and the rest is, I am not saying Browning is going to be Kurt Warner by no means, but hopefully he can keep the train on the track.
Let's continue on in Baltimore, where the Baltimore Ravens take down the Cleveland Browns. Old friend Joe Flacco on the other side for the Cleveland Browns. Total score 41-17.
This was a snooze fest, if I'm going to be honest. This was not about the Ravens because the Ravens are going to bounce back. Joe Flacco. Well, hold on. Let me hold on. Lamar Jackson. This is what I mean by efficiency. We talking about 40-something throws, 50-something throws, 30, 19 to 29, 225 yards, 4 touchdowns. 4. I don't care about all these yards. That's 4 touchdowns. But here's the stat. Derrick Henry had 11 rushes for 23 yards, 2.1 yards average. They wasn't even trying to run the ball. Zay Flowers had a good game and different things. Here's what the Browns will have to deal with. Joe Flacco, 25 of 45. Smitty threw the ball 45 times, 199 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Dylan Gabriel came in 3 for 3, 19 yards and a touchdown, right? Yeah. Your leading receiver was Jerry Jeudy, 4 catches, 51 yards, followed by Harold Fannin Jr., 5 catches, 48 yards, David Njoku, 4. The Cleveland Browns are going to have to deal with this all year because when you don't have a QB1, you just hoping and praying, and they don't. I like Joe Flacco, but Joe Flacco was a good fit for a team like the like the Indianapolis Colts because they had a good team around him. The Browns are not a good team, which means you're going to have to struggle in a conference. That's the Baltimore is still the leader of it. Cincinnati got to deal with a backup quarterback. We don't know how good Aaron Rodgers really is because they just got schooled again. And you got the lonely Browns. So if you're a Browns fan, I don't know what to tell you. Joe Flacco is not the answer. I don't think Dylan Gabriel is the answer. And guess what? And Adam Schefter. I mean, what's the purpose of talking about the Ravens were going to take Shador, and he said, don't draft me because I don't want to play behind. Like, why is that a story now? Because it shows how polarized Shador is. Why you wait until now to talk about it? You've been had that information, right? So I'm telling y'all, Shador, if he did say that, that's just common sense. That doesn't mean he don't want to compete. But we'll see how long it's going to be. Dylan Gabriel obviously got in with 3 for 3, touchdown. We'll see how the quarterback carousel for turns in Cleveland. But, yeah, this is a snooze fest. Baltimore was going to beat the brakes off the Cleveland Browns. Right now, Cleveland they just treading water. They really, really is. And I don't know how many games they're going to win, but it's going to be a long season for those guys.
All right, let's keep moving through some of these games. Like you said, for the ones that aren't as snooze fest worthy, as you said. Buffalo Bills take down the New York Jets in MetLife 30-10. That saw Justin Fields go out with an injury, and also Josh Allen briefly missed a couple plays with a bloody nose and then went right back in.
Whew. Now, I'm going to start with Justin Fields. 3 of 11, 27 yards. The I don't know. The narrative about Justin Fields is he's consistent at being inconsistent. A lot of that had to do because he would start his career in Chicago, and you could see not even Ben Johnson can help what's going on in Chicago right now. Tyrod Taylor comes in 7 of 11, 56 yards and a touchdown. Justin Fields, 5 rushes, 49 yards. I think this Jets team, it's gonna be based on matchups and the teams that they're playing. Buffalo owns real estate in New York. And I'm talking about New York, not just upstate New York. They also own real estate in New England and definitely down there in South Beach. Once again, Josh Allen was pedestrian though. This what made this crazy. He was 14 of 25 for 148 yards, no touchdown. Mitch Trubisky was 1 of 2, 32 yards. James Cook, 21 rushes, 132 yards, 2 picks. This is what makes this team dangerous. A week ago, Keon Coleman had 8 catches over 100 yards and a touchdown. On Sunday, he had 3 catches, 26 yards. I think what makes the Bills dangerous is this. Not that the Jets are a barometer. When Josh Allen cannot have a good day and they still dominate, that's because it used to be the other way around. He got to play good every single week. And they're giving him some days off. The Jets going to give a lot of teams some days. But the Jets didn't look like the same Jets that they were a week ago against Pittsburgh. I mean, okay, so when you see Aaron Rodgers on the other sideline, you want to go out, you want to go crazy. But then when you see Josh Allen, it's a little bit different. But shout out to it's Buffalo, it's the Jets. I mean, you're talking about a team that never went to a Super Bowl compared to a team that went with Joe Namath, who's still the most famous Jet of all time. Hope that Justin Fields comes off the injury bug sooner rather than later. Tyrod Taylor still getting checks. He literally kept his same house. He was the backup for the Giants. Now he's the backup with the Jets. Shout out to Tyrod for finding a way to still having a nice career in the National Football League.
Yeah, Virginia Tech legend. The New England Patriots are winless no more. They get to 1-1 with a 33-27 victory over the Miami Dolphins in South Florida, and Miami will have a short turnaround. They'll be playing at Buffalo on Thursday Night Football, which we'll preview here in week number 3 at the very end of the show. So New England over Miami, 33-27.
Drake May, 19 to 23, 230 yards, 2 touchdowns, very, very efficient. Right? You talk about Stevenson, 5 for 88, Austin Hooper, 3 for 38. So very, efficient numbers, not crazy numbers. Here's the thing, though. Tua, 26 to 32, 315 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. No run game. A-Chain, 11 for 30. Washington was 3 for 23. Tyreek Hill, though, 6 catches, 109 yards. A-Chain, 8 for 92 and a touchdown. Jalen Waddle, 5 for 68. I think the thing about this entire team that's going to hurt them when it comes to the Miami Dolphins, I don't think they respect their head coach. I don't think they care one iota about Mike McDaniel. And I think this goes back to when you have a locker room that's been torn to shreds by Tyreek Hill. Who puts it back together? Who can? And I'm not saying that's what's going on in 2025. Things that went on in 2023 should have got nipped in the bud. Things that happened during 2023 that should have got nipped. 2024, we talk about the season, you talk about the last game, we talk about during the season. And Smitty, at a certain point, what is our identity? Is it a high-powered offense that can't win the cold in the postseason? Is it a pass rush that's no longer injured, but now they kind of put, with Phillips, and Chubb and company? Is it a quarterback that still has Jalen Waddle, that still has Tyreek Hill, that still has A-Chain, that still has Mike McDaniels, and no results? Or is this because after the first season, they're already doing a players-only meet? If you do a players-only meeting after week 1, the season is over. I don't care what you do in the regular season. You've already – it's DEFCON 9 or 10 or whatever you want to call it. Like, what would – I want to say something I heard J.J. Watt say. I have never come out of a players-only meeting and say, yes, let's go. No, that's panic. And we got 16 more weeks to go. I don't know what's going to happen with this Dolphins team, and I'm never calling for nobody to be fired, but I don't think Mike McDaniels makes it no matter what, because I think he's lost the locker room. He's definitely lost the team, and I think the only way he can salvage this season and maybe his career or his job in Miami, he needs to trade Tyreek Hill while he's still tradable, because if the team is not going to win, I don't want a guy that's going to be divisive if it continues to go bad. He got his touches week 2. Didn't really happen week 1. But this Dolphins team, I give a lot of credit to New England. They won. Mike Vrabel gets his first career win, as the head coach of New England Patriots. But this was more about what the Miami Dolphins weren't doing more than what New England was doing. Shout out to New England, but it's panic when you talk about the South Beach, because I think it's because Tues 1, Mike McDaniels 2, Tyreek Hill is 3, the entire team is 4. What type of defense do you really have? I don't know. And like I said, whenever you let one player control what happens to the pulse of the team, and that player has issues, even though he's working on them, I don't know, because that's a recipe for success. We'll see what happens, but Miami is we're going to be talking about Miami, unfortunately not for the right reasons, and we got 15 weeks. Well, it's really 16 if you count off week. 16 weeks left in the season.
Mac Jones gets the victory for the San Francisco 49ers in the Superdome against the New Orleans Saints, 26-21. That saw Kyle Juszczyk go down in this game as well for the 49ers. Christian McCaffrey doing his thing. Spencer Rattler, great effort there in New Orleans. But again, the 49ers and Mac Jones get the victory, 26-21.
Listen. There was a Mac Jones sighting, 26-39, 279 yards, 3 touchdowns. Christian McCaffrey, 13 rushes, 55 yards. Also had 6 catches, 52 yards and a touchdown. Juwan Jennings, 5 catches, 89 yards and a touchdown. Ricky Pearsall, 4 for 56. I always like to see a new faces and new places. And Matt Jones, great Robin role filling in, for Brock Purdy. But as you mentioned, Spencer Rattler, giving you all he got, 25 for 34, 207 yards, 3 touchdowns. That's very, very efficient. Alvin Kamara still making plays, 21 rushes, 99 yards. You're talking about Chris Olave, 6 for 54. Rashid Shaheed, you're talking about 4 for 52 and a touchdown. I think the Saints are going to be very competitive, not going to lay down. They're going to run out of gas every week. Like, they're going to give you all they got for about 3.5 quarters. They're going to run out of gas. And I think that's the thing, Smitty, is Kellen Moore is a good coach. I mean, he was a good coordinator. We don't know if I don't want to judge him off this year, though. No matter what happens, I don't want to judge him off of year 1 when you don't, your quarterback for the future is not in the building, not on the team right now. But they haven't been blowouts. Wasn't a blowout week 1, wasn't a blowout week 2. But when you got a guy, Mac Jones, who was the former number 1 pick out of New England, out of Alabama to New England, and they come in and look the way they look with no George Kittle, right? You talk about, but now Brock Purdy's out, George Kittle's out. Now you're starting fullback is out. Brandon Ayuk is still not back yet. They might be I know they dealt with the walking wound in 2024. We hope that the injury bug isn't showing itself in 2025. But great win by San Francisco. That makes John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan look real good. Gonna go, whoo, because they're gonna have to keep the band rolling. But so far so good. 2 games, 2-0.
Let's keep it moving there. There we go. All right. An exciting game in the Big D. The Dallas Cowboys 40-37 in overtime over the New York Football Giants. I was very impressed with Brandon Aubrey. I knew what his story was, former soccer player. Kicks 64-yarder to force overtime, and then a much shorter kick to win in overtime. But he is a machine, man. The Dallas Cowboys get the win 40-37 there in Jerry's World.
We knew that this Dallas Cowboy defense was going to have a lot of holes. We knew that, even when they had Michael Parsons. Stephon Diggs' brother, who plays cornerback, he was an all-pro. The same year he was an all-pro, he gave up the most yards in the National Football League in touchdown because he's an out-of-phase corner. For those who don't know what out-of-phase is, that means that, look, he's going to kind of let the receiver run around and try to get in. But he's not more of a press guy. They're going to kind of let him freelance. Well, he freelanced a lot on Sunday. Russell Wilson was 30 or 41 for 450 yards, 3 touchdowns and a pick. Scatterboo, 11 rushes, 45 yards and a touchdown. Russell Wilson, 3 rushes, 23 yards. Malik Neighbors, 9 catches, 167 yards, 2 touchdowns. Wan'Dale Robinson, 8 catches, 142 yards and a touchdown. And everybody else had 2 and 4. But then you talk about Dak. 30, here come all these passes again, Smitty. 38 of 52. He threw the ball 52 times, 361 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Javonte Williams, 18 rushes, 97 yards, 5.4 yards rush, 1 touchdown. CeeDee Lamb, 9 for 112. Jay Ferguson, 9 for 78. George Pickens, 5 for 68 in a touchdown. And obviously Turpin, 4 for 47 in a touchdown. This was about missed opportunities. I think that the New York Football Giants had opportunities to kind of run away with this thing, but Dallas just kept them close. I did see Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeau. That D-line kind of showed itself, but it's in spurts. It's not really impactful. They're going to get there. We thought about that many times. I mean, I hope you will have a couple of sacks here and there. But once again, Smitty, let me tell you what nobody's talking about again when it comes to these high-profile players, right? What was that guy's name? Number 3 overall pick. Abdul Carter. Remember him out of Penn State? And we kept talking about these undersized outside linebackers. He's on a milk carton. And I mean that means they can't find him. It's not that he's not there. They walking around the stage. Have you seen this person? He's right there. No. Like on the field, making an impact. It's hard to do. And I'm not saying he won't be a big-time player down the line, but I thought that Thibodeau, Burns, Lawrence, and Carter was going to remind you of them days of Jason Pierre-Paul and Justin Tuck and those guys. And it just doesn't happen that way. For those, it just doesn't happen that way. But this is about the Cowboys saying we refuse to go on to Coastal Bowl. Let me tell you something. If Russell Wilson playing like that, that means that, Jackson Dart going to be on the bench, a couple of more weeks at least, maybe a month or so. But if you don't start getting some wins, I don't think that rookie going to save you. I could be wrong. But here's why it's really not going to save you. What is Saquon Barkley? Undefeated. What is Daniel Jones? Undefeated. So maybe it was New York. Maybe getting up out of New York has been the best for your best 2 players. But shout out to Dak and company. Great win, overtime, everything you needed. And that's why you pay. Listen, it ain't going to always be pretty, but if you get the dub, it's much easier to come to work on Monday. Victory Monday for them Cowboys.
Let's go to the Steel City, the Pittsburgh Steelers. As my sheet went out again. Hold on 1 second. There we go. All right. The Pittsburgh Steelers, they lose at home. The Seattle Seahawks come west, and they get it done 31-17. But DK Metcalf did have his touchdown against his former team for the Steelers, if that counts for anything.
Yeah, he did. He did. I mean, DK Metcalf did have a touchdown. DK Metcalf had 3 catches, 20 yards, and 1 touchdown. 3 catches, 20 yards, and 1 touchdown. Warren had 4 for 86. Frymuth had 3 for 31. Warren also had 14 rushes, 48 yards. Aaron Rodgers, 18 to 33, 203 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. That's not going to get it done. But then go over to Sam Darnold. 22 of 33, 295 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Listen, man, Kenneth Walker, 13 rushes, 105 yards, 8.1 yards a carry, 1 touchdown. Jackson Smith and Nick, 8 for 103. Let me tell you something. And Cooper Kupp, 7 for 90. These Seattle Seahawks, just like the Jets the last 2 weeks, before the season started, I saw that Jalen Ramsey was doing his media run on the pivot with Ryan Clark, and Shannon Crowder and Fred T. Talking about how I'm the alpha male now. I know it's Joey Porter and Darius Slay. Jackson Smith and Nigga was taking Jalen Ramsey to the woodshed. I'm telling y'all, this secondary, ain't nobody scared of them. Justin Fields did what he wanted in week 1. Sam Darnold took chances in week 2. They could have lost in week 1. Should have lost in week 1. And I think the thing about this Pittsburgh Steelers defense is TJ Watt, Cam Hayward. They got players all over the field, and no one cares. Nobody. They don't really. DK Metcalf's supposed to be the alpha male on offense. You don't even got to play. He's going to play extremely hard. He's going to block extremely hard. Production's just not there. Freiermuth want to show Jonnu Smith that, hey, I'm the number 1 tight end. You the number 2 tight end. Aaron Rodgers is 42 years old. Or going to be. And sometimes he looks it. He just looks it. And I don't know how their season is going to go. I don't see them being Baltimore. It might not be Cincinnati. And Cleveland's going to be competitive. Sam Darnold looked good the first 2 weeks. They didn't win week 1 because tight end for San Francisco he caught it. He caught it. And I'm not taking nothing away from him. But this was about Sam Darnold and Seattle Seahawks. They ran the ball, did what they wanted to do in the passing game. And outside of DK Metcalf getting the 1 touchdown, he was on a milk carton too. He was. 3 for 20 and a touch. A backup tight end, a fullback can do that. Not the guy that just got paid, almost $90 million. So shout out to the Seahawks and Pittsburgh. It's going to be a long year for y'all because if y'all secondary can't shut other opposing receivers down and y'all depending on Aaron Rodgers and the offense to keep y'all, it's going to be a long year for the guys from the Steel City.
Last 1 o'clock game, and we'll keep it moving a little quicker for the remaining games since we still have to preview week 3. But I want to make sure you spend some time on this one. The Lions take down the Chicago Bears 52-21. Ben Johnson, former offensive coordinator, coming back to Detroit as the Chicago head coach, and Caleb Williams managing just 21 points. The Detroit Lions are back, Ben. People thought they were gone after 1 week. Nope, they're back. They're very much still alive. Green Bay might just be that good, let's be honest. 52-21 over the Chicago Bears.
This is the reunion. Ben Johnson, he knows his offense top to bottom. Problem is he don't know his own offense. He don't know Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams, 19 to 30, 270 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. DeAndre Swift, 12 rushes, 63 yards and a touchdown. Rome Meduze, 7 for 128, 2 touchdowns. Appreciate you, Rome. Got you one of my starting receivers. Gave me a lot of points, young man. Hit DJ Moore, 5 for 46. That's not going to get it done. But this is all about the Lions. Jared Goff, 23 of 28. 23 of 28, 334 yards, 5 touchdowns, no picks. Gibbs, 12 rushes, 94 yards and a touchdown. Montgomery, 11 rushes, 57 yards and a touchdown. That's efficiency. Amon St. Brown, 9 catches, 115 yards, 12.8 yards a catch, three tubs. James Williams, two catches, 108 yards. He averaged 54 yards a catch. They put on a clinic. And I thought that everybody was like, Green Bay made them look pedestrian. Well, Green Bay might be the class of the NFC, not just the NFC North, but what's going on with Love and company right now. I was impressed with how Jared Goff said, we're going to do what we want when we want. And I'm talking about the passing game. We're going to do it how we want. Amon St. Brown did what he wanted to do all game. It wasn't even close. It wasn't even competitive. And I think what Ben Johnson needs to understand real fast is you being a good coordinator don't mean you're going to be a good coach. And I know it's only 2 games, only a sample size. But this wasn't even a game. This game was over at halftime, and they were just piling it on. If you are, Smitty, ask you this. If you are Ben Johnson, I mean, what is your approach when it comes to a guy like Caleb Williams? Because I don't think one's head coach, one's a quarterback, but I don't think a guy like Caleb Williams understands what his ultimate role is as a quarterback, because I think they got different expectations. One wants to win and set a standard and a mentality. I think the other one wants to pad his stats to look good on Sunday to make it look like I'm not playing bad, the team is.
Yeah, those are all good points. I mean, I don't know if this marriage is going to work. I'm being quite honest. Between Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson, there's a lot of reports that have come out about how he's been difficult to work with. We'll just have to remain and see. I mean, we'll talk about my Panthers here in just a second. DJ Moore coming back to Carolina at the deadline would be very nice for
that would be epic. That would be epic.
But we won't. That's neither here nor there. Let's keep it going. The defending Super Bowl champs, the Philadelphia Eagles, now the 4:00 games from yesterday, 20-17 over the Kansas City Chiefs in Arrowhead. The Kansas City Chiefs are 0-2 for the first time since 2014. That would be when Andy Reid did not make the playoffs in Kansas City.
The story of this game is missed opportunities. When you start talking about the Chiefs and you start talking about Patrick Mahomes missing guys on him, I mean, it was obviously that was a big drop near the goal line by Travis Kelce that led to a pick. Here's the thing about the Chiefs, right? We respect the Chiefs because of what they've done, not what they're doing. We respect the Chiefs because the legacy that they've already built. But but you still trying to. You got to update your resume every year. Patrick Mahomes, 16-29, 187 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Pat Mahomes also led them in rushing with 7 rushes, 66 yards, and a touchdown. Hunt and Pacheco, I mean, they're just not there. Travis Kelce, 4 catches, 61 yards. Thornton, 2 catches, 59 yards. And then you go, and obviously, I mean, it's not like Jalen Hurts put up great numbers. He was 15-22, 101 yards. Saquon Barkley, 22 rushes, 88 yards, and a touchdown. Devonta Smith was 4 for 53. A.J. Brown in 2 weeks had 6 catches, I think, for 30-some yards in 2 weeks. Here's the thing about that, and I could be wrong. I don't think A.J. Brown is going to make it as an Eagle. I don't think that marriage is going to make it either, because he's not the type of player that wants to win without having his stats. That's just what they say in the media. But here's what should be scary about the Chiefs and this game with the Eagles. Number one, the Eagles didn't have their best game, but they made y'all have a worse game, and they still beat y'all. Y'all defense only gave up 20 points, and that was enough to beat y'all because y'all offense only scored 17. Patrick Mahomes, when he's not super, he's extremely normal. Extremely. Which a lot of quarterbacks are. But when he's not making those flat, now that 1 touchdown he had was stupid nice. I'm like, Lord, he let it go. But I think, Smitty, we got to start asking ourselves. When Chris Jones, at the end of the game, they got him on a hot mic talking about, you ain't even get 100 yards talking to Saquon Barkley. And then, Jalen Hurts, he kind of made some, he said, we won. He said, shut the, bleep up. We won the effing game, which they did. The Eagles are finding a way to win. It doesn't matter how we look. And I think right now Kansas City is desperate for a win because we thought that week 1 in Brazil against the Chargers was a fluke. I don't know. Chargers might be looking like the class. Now, it's still early, but the Chargers are looking like the class right now of that AFC West.
I mean, they're coming up in just a little bit of time here as we're recording this on Monday night against the Las Vegas Raiders to close out week 2. The Indianapolis Colts take down the Denver Broncos 29-28 behind a last-second field goal by Spencer Schrader after the field goal that was not good. And then we talked about it earlier in the episode with First Things First. The hitting the center, as they call it, penalty, the holder of the center.
Use leverage, yeah.
Use leverage, yep. And so the Broncos commit the penalty. The field goal was no good. They get to try it again, and then Spencer Schrader nails it for the Colts to go home 2-0 on the season, 29-28 over the Denver Broncos.
Bo Nix, 22 of 30, 206 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. J.K. Dobbins, 14 for 76 in a touchdown. Franklin, 8 catches, 89 yards. Mims Jr., talking about 2 catches, 19 yards. This is about Daniel Jones, though. 23 of 34, 316 yards, 1 touchdown. Taylor went off. Went off. 25, 165. Tyler Warren, had 4 for 79. Daniel Jones is looking real comfortable in his offense, and he's making some big time throws. He's making some really, really good decisions. They should have lost this game, but Denver panicked on the field goal. And look, one play could be the difference in the game. People not talking about it, but a lot of whispers coming out of Denver, Smitty, about how Bo Nix is looking in year 2 in his offense. Like, he hasn't looked crisp. Him and Cortland Sutton haven't really got it going. Evan Ingram was supposed to be an upgrade at the tight end position. He's kind of been, iffy, and they just didn't look good. But yes, yes, Daniel Jones and company got the win. But this Colts offense can be scary. Warren is looking like Brock Bowers 2.0 as a rookie. He can go out there and do whatever he wants to do. Taylor is one of the top rushers. I think he might be the leading rusher in NFL right now with what he's doing after week 2. And dare I say, they got a defense that's good enough to get turnovers. Watch out, Jaguars. Lo and behold, here come them Colts who got something to say about an AFC South that's going to be – it's going to come down to the Texans, the Jags, and the Colts because, let's face it, the two-tone Blue Boys of Nashville, they're not going to do much. But incredible by Daniel Jones. And after week 2, Daniel Jones has comparable numbers to Josh Allen. No one said he's Josh Allen. But his numbers, 2-0, completion percentage, yards, touchdowns, the picks, looks really, really similar. All I'm saying, Smitty, a new address, does wonders for certain people. That's all I'm saying.
All right. My Panthers, your Falcons are the last 2 games here. Let's go ahead and get those here as we wrap up week number 2. The Arizona Cardinals take down the Carolina Panthers 27-22. Kyler Murray and Bryce Young both threw 1 interception each, but it was really the 10 points that Carolina spotted Arizona to start this game. It's kind of a second week in a row. Carolina just missed opportunities at the very beginning of the game that doesn't give them a chance kind of going forward. Ben, thoughts on this game? I will say, as a Carolina Panthers content creator and fan, it really is. And I'm not going to sit here and say they would be 2-0 right now. That's not what I'm saying. But the Panthers could be so much better if they just clean up their first half play. They outscored both Arizona and Jacksonville in the second half of those games. But they couldn't get out of the massive holes they dug themselves in the first half. That's really the story of both of their games, let's be honest. First time in 6 years, Carolina or any team recovered an onside kick. That was amazing. Had the chance there at the end, but Bryce Young could not handle the blitzes there at the end. And then obviously Calais Campbell, the ageless wonder, sacking him on 4th down to obviously give them that victory, snatching him from the defeat of jaws of defeat there. So, so thoughts on Bryce Young, the Panthers, and then obviously Kyler Murray rallying the troops there with the Cardinals.
As you mentioned, they spotted them 10 points. It's 10-3 in the first quarter. They scored another 10 in the second, so it's already 20-3 at halftime. But then you guys showed a lot of fight. 13 points in the fourth quarter to no points scored. Divas having a 0 point scored in the fourth. But this is about Bryce Young. I think they put him in bad situation for this reason. He was 35 of 55, 328 yards, 3 touchdowns a pick. That's a lot of throws. That is a lot of throws, people. McMillan, 6 for 100 yards. Sanders was 7 for 54. Hunter Renfrow, 7 for 48. Xavier Legette had 1 catch for -2. You can't win like that. I need my stars.
2 more games without Jalen Coker, and the Panthers will have him back. And then,
and here's the thing too, right? They're going to give Xavier Legette the benefit of the doubt, but at a certain point, he is what the tape says he is. Because here's the thing about Kyler Murray: he was 15-25, 220 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. James Conner had 11 rushes, 34 yards and a touchdown. Kyler Murray had 7 rushes, 32 yards. Trey McBride was the leading receiver with 6 catches, 78 yards. Not only did they shut Marvin Harrison down, he was on a milk carton. 2 catches, 27 yards. When you look at what Kyler Murray and company didn't do, this is about those opening quarters. You can't spend the whole game battling back into the game, get an onside kick, get the momentum, and then you end with a sack. This is about making sure you are helping. You got to help Bryce Young with the supporting cast around him. The run game has to be there. The O-line has to be there. and his receivers got to be there. I told you, when y'all drafted McMillan, I say he's going to be a good player because he's a long strider. He's not a burner, but he's going to come wide open, real smooth in and out of his breaks. Xavier Legette is still a project. Hunter Renfrow got to make more noise in the slot, and then you're going to have to be better as a cast as far as like his receivers go. It's disappointing. Show a lot of fight. But if they can find a way to have that second half momentum in the first half, don't put themselves in a hole, I think Carolina, they still got just as good of a shot in the NFC South. That's still led by Tampa, but I think Tampa, I think Atlanta, and, who knows what's going to happen in New Orleans. I think all those teams are very, very beatable. If not, you definitely go out there and compete with them.
The big news also in this game is Carolina lost starting center Austin Corbett to a torn MCL, and then starting right guard Robert Hunt to a torn biceps. Both are most likely done for the year. As a Panthers fan, I'm not going to sit here and say that the right guard Hunt is not a big loss, because it certainly is. Chandler Zavala will be next man up there, and then Austin Corbett will be replaced by Cade Mays. Both of those guys did play last year for the Panthers as well, so they have starting experience. Panthers brought back their last top 9 offensive linemen, so that depth is definitely going to be tested. And then we'll see what happens there. Real quick though, on the Panthers, just a really quick note, since I'm going to go over here, so we make this really fast. Do you think that there's this narrative from, I think, Panther Nation and people who just follow Bryce Young, who aren't necessarily Panther fans, they think that Bryce almost has to play perfect, and if he doesn't, he gets extra criticism compared to some other quarterback. Is that because he's short? Is it because he got benched already, and this is kind of a proving year for it? What is that? Do we know what that is?
It's because I think that's the narrative that people have already. Similar to like a Shedeur Sanders, people have a certain narrative about a player, and anytime he can help push that narrative, that's what they're gonna say. They're looking Bryce, and it's unfair to Bryce. If I'm throwing the ball 55 times because I have no inkling of a run game, and even if I complete a bunch of passes, I can still not complete a bunch of passes because I need my supporting staff to support me. I need you guys to understand I am doing all I can. I am doing every single thing I can. I'm going to make mistakes. Now, do I think Bryce lets the rush gets to him too much? Yes. Do I think Bryce can avoid some of these sacks? Yes. Do I think Bryce holds the ball too long? But I'm holding the ball too long because guys aren't separating. I'm giving my guys an opportunity to go out there and make plays. I can throw it 10 yards a lot quicker than I can run it 10 yards. But I'm going to keep saying this. I don't know how much this quarterback's coach is developing. I don't know how much Coach Canales and his scheme is helping him, because it goes back to, I'm going to keep saying it, it's the Tom Brady analysis. How good is his scheme? How good is his quarterback coach? How good is his offense? And how well does he play within it? If my number one pick in 2024 is on a milk carton, he's not even out there. And my number one pick this year is looking like a seasoned vet. That means that I can trust my first year guy, and I just have to act like I trust my second year guy. I don't know, but I do think it's unfair criticism for a guy in Bryce Young who was doing all he can on a team that he needs support from. Not just because the defense played well. They played well, but Bryce is going to know this. Until you win consistently, the criticism is going to flow like water because I think he's a target right now.
The Atlanta Falcons take down the Minnesota Vikings on Sunday Night Football by a score of 22-6. That saw, let's be honest, Ben, outside of the touchdown in the first quarter, it was kind of a hard game to watch. I think you probably agree with that. J.J. McCarthy, though, did go down with an ankle injury. He will be out for this coming up week's game. So it'll be Carson Wentz versus Jake Browning. We'll get to that game in just a second when we preview week number 3. But 22-6 Falcons over the Vikings.
Defense. That's what it was. It was a defensive slugfest. It was whoever could break open. And I kept saying this, Smitty. J.J. McCarthy might be in his second year, but it still is his rookie campaign because he missed all – and it showed in week 2. It didn't take long. 11 of 21, 158 yards, 2 picks. Didn't get a lot of help from his run game. Mason, 9 for 30. J.J. McCarthy, 5 for 25. Justin Jefferson, 3 catches, 81 yards, 27 yards a catch. It didn't really mean much. Michael Penix didn't do that much either. 13 of 21, 135 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. The story of this game was Bijan Robinson. 22 rushes, 143 yards. And obviously Aguilar, 16 to 76, 1 touchdown. And the defense, I mean, they came alive. You talk about Harrison with a sack and a half. I mean, you talk about Dorius with a sack and a half. You talk about Jalen Walker with a sack. Talk about Leonard Floyd with a sack. So that defense started eating, and J.J. McCartney looked like a rookie. I don't know if this defense can keep it up, but if defense can play like this, that means that the offense got a shot. I mean, Kyle Pitts and Michael Penix is still a work in progress. Drake May had a couple of catches, put the ball on the ground. This was an ugly game. The Falcons just found a way to come out with the win. Raheem Morris, just like a lot of teams in the NFC South, doesn't have a lot to go home about. I mean, had started off real good in 2024 and tailed off. With a lot of these quarterbacks hurt, why don't y'all call Terry Fontenot, the general manager of the Falcons, and go out there and see if Kirk Cousins made a lot of money in 2024. Maybe him and his minivan can hit the road and he can go to another team. You don't got to play with the Falcons no more. Maybe that's just wishful thinking on my end. But Falcons get the win. J.J. McCartney gets hurt. You don't know what that's going to mean for Minnesota moving forward, because if you can't keep up right now with them boys from Detroit and Green Bay, Minnesota, y'all gonna have JJ, y'all gonna have Justin Jefferson with his platinum grill and no wins to show for it.
And then live as we are recording here, Monday Night Football, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers just scored the go-ahead touchdown by Rachaad White with 6 seconds left to take the lead 20-19, and Baker Mayfield and the team went for 2 and did not get it. So unless CJ Stroud in 5 seconds returns the kickoff, or there's a Hail Mary or a very long field goal in 5 seconds, it looks like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will move to 2-0 with a 20-19 victory in Houston on the first Monday Night Football game.
I mean, Baker Mayfield, 25 of 38, 225 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Bucky Irvin, 17 for 71. You mentioned Rachaad White with a go-ahead touchdown, 10 rushes, 65 yards. Mike Evans, 5 for 56. Bucky Irvin. Emeka Egbuka, 4 catch, 29 yards, another touchdown, 3 touchdowns in 2 weeks. But Houston got a big problem right now. They're probably going to go to 0-2. CJ Stroud, 13 to 24, 207 yards and a touchdown. Nick Chubb, 12 rushes, 43 yards and a touchdown. I kept telling you this, Smitty. Nico Collins, 3 catches, 52 yards and a touchdown. Woody Marks, 1 catch, 37 yards. I don't know what to make of this Houston Texas team. I keep telling you, people respect them, but they don't fear them. I'm just looking right here. Daniel Hunter had 2 sacks. Will Anderson Jr. had 1 sack. They had 4 sacks on the evening. Houston knows, just like a lot of teams. The reason why we call this podcast why it's known as Winning Division is because of teams like you. They know we ain't gonna do much outside of the division. We just got to dominate within it. They haven't really started that yet because they've been on the road 2 weeks in a row. But Houston gonna walk out of here 0-2. D'Amico Ryans, them know they still got Indy, who's undefeated. The Titans, who got a number 1 overall pick, and the Jacksonville Jaguar team, they got Travis Hunter. So we'll see what happens in that division.
All right, and it is a final. Tampa Bay goes to 2-0, and then Houston falls to 0-2. So that game is a final on Monday Night Football. Los Angeles Chargers and the Las Vegas Raiders ending week 2 here on Monday Night Football game coming up as we're recording this here shortly. I think we both had the Chargers winning that game in our preview last week, so we'll see what happens there. All right, let's move on to our week 3 preview. Top 5 games to watch in week number 3, and then our toilet bowl as well.
I got to go through mine. I might just rock with yours. I'll be sitting here looking at these week games. Go ahead with yours.
All right, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go with the toilet bowl being the Thursday Night Football game. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that. No. Just because of the quarterbacks, I don't know if this is going to be a good game. Give me the Bengals Vikings as my toilet bowl game of the week. If I am correct on that. So, Bengals Vikings, 1:00 is my toilet bowl game of the week. Carson Wentz versus Jake Browning. I don't think anybody wants to see that, if we're being honest. Quarterback wise, anyway, that might be a controversial opinion, but toilet bowl is the Bengals versus the Vikings. So Top 5 games to watch. Number 5 on this list. Give me Falcons-Panthers. I know the Panthers are 0-2. I know the Falcons are 1-1. This rivalry, the Dirty Birds and the Panthers, both these teams hate each other. The short drive up for 85 from Atlanta to Charlotte. Panthers trying to get their first victory of the season at home in the home opener. Falcons trying to take a lead over the Panthers in the division and get to 1-1 in the division after falling to Tampa Bay in week number 1 in the division. Number 4 on this list. Let's go to LA. The Broncos and the Chargers out at SoFi Stadium. Broncos 1-1 coming off that loss. Chargers, we'll see what happens against the Raiders here in a few hours. Could be 2-0. Chargers hosting the Broncos there at 4:05 Eastern time. My number 4 on this list. Number 3 on this list. Give me the 49ers and Cardinals, both 2-0 teams out in Santa Clara, California. Kyler Murray and company, can they get to 3-0 over Mac Jones, Christian McCaffrey, and the San Francisco 49ers? Number 2 on this list. I had a hard time between the top 2, Ben, because I think it's pretty obvious the top 2 games. But give me Lions-Ravens. Almost said Bengals. Lions-Ravens, Monday Night Football in Baltimore. Number 2 on this list. Lamar Jackson versus Jared Goff should be an excellent Monday Night Football game. But the number 1, and I don't think I almost made it my number 1, but I don't think it's close. I almost made Lions-Ravens 1, but I don't think it's close. Rams, Eagles, and Philadelphia, 2-0 teams. Matthew Stafford versus Jalen Hurts. That one should be a doozy rematch of the divisional round playoff game from last year in Philadelphia. Well, let's be honest, Ben, Stafford and company almost beat them there in Philly in the playoffs. Rams, Eagles, my top 5 games in week 3.
Listen, I'm gonna go with my top 5. I'm gonna give you my toilet bowl at the end. My number 1 is Lions Ravens. I think the Lions Ravens are gonna be high flying. I think the Lions have just showed the rest of the league. Don't let the first week fool you. We are not the same team moving forward. I want to see this Lions offense versus Ravens defense, and vice versa. My number 2, I want the Broncos and the Chargers, baby. I want to see. I like them division games. I think it's going to be a really, really good game. My number 3 is Rams-Eagles, though. I think Rams-Eagles is going to be good to help. They're going to test the health of Matthew Stafford, who got to come back he got to come back to the Lincoln Financial, but it's just going to be in better conditions. Was that number 3? My number 4, Cardinals 49ers. This 49 team, 2-0 versus 2-0. Let's go, Kyler. It's going to be Kyler Murray versus Mac Jones. Let's get it in. What I have, let's see, what is it? 1, 2. And my number 5, Falcons Panthers. I could have had it in my number 1. I could have went my number 1. But
Yeah,
you said something though, Smitty. This rivalry, I get the wins and the losses. I get it. But this is not respected like it should be nationally. Panthers and the Falcons have a nice little rivalry going on. And I guarantee you the Panthers are saying, the Falcons, remember, we said, could it be Matty Ice? And Cam Newton 2.0. Cam a little shorter. Matty Ice is a little darker. Just saying. I want to see that. But my toilet bowl, Smitty, I'm surprised you. Dolphins Bills. This could be Mike McDaniel's last game. If this gets out of hand, which it probably will.
I don't think it'll be after 0-3.
I'm not saying this could be. I'm not saying it's gonna be, Smitty. I'm not saying it's gonna be, but the Dolphins are already, as we mentioned, the Dolphins already did the players only meeting. And the Bills used to beat up on the Bills. Been beating up on the Dolphins since Josh Allen's been since Sean McDermott and Josh Allen have been paired together. It's been going on like this. So my toilet bowl is Dolphins Bills, because the Dolphins ain't going nowhere fast. The Bills going to make sure they continue in their losing ways. It's not going to be the end, but I want y'all to just Google post game press conference. Mike McDaniel. He's saying things like, "Well, you lose games when you don't win games. That's how you lose." Really? Yeah, like, okay. Like, you trying to give us this Bill Belichick weird stuff. Well, yeah. My Falcons, I could have put them number 1. That's my bias, but they are my top 5, one of my top 5 games to watch week 3.
And that will wrap it up here on Winning the Division episode number 63, week 2 recap, week 3 preview. Make sure you rate, review, and subscribe there wherever you get your podcast. Let us know how we're doing. We'd love to hear from you guys and see what you guys want us to talk about, what guest you want us to bring on. We're going to have a special episode recording tomorrow. Jimmy Traina from SI Now will be joining us tomorrow. And guys, as we say here on Winning the Division, you are either just winning, or sorry, wow, messing that up. You're either in your division or you are winning the division. For Ben Troupe, I'm Ryan Smith. Rate, review, and subscribe. We will see you guys next time.